Hi guys. Have you ever done something completely different for God? My name is Jeff, and if you've ever contacted our office by phone or email, it's likely that you have connected with me. It is a privilege and an honor to serve the Lord and you guys through the ministry of Promise Keepers Canada Impactus. As we move closer to Easter, this week's devotional is an exploration of how Jesus' redemptive work is the greatest example of humility and service. I've been asked to share a bit of my story as we get started. I'm from the Niagara area originally, and was born into a Christian home. I'm grateful for a heritage of faith that goes back many generations. But that wasn't enough. I became aware of my own need for salvation as a young child and asked Jesus to come into my heart and save me from my sins. That started a lifelong journey of walking with Jesus and growing in my faith and knowledge of Him. I took real ownership of that in my teens and was baptized when I was 18 years old. That starting point, I would say that being a Christ follower is who I am, as I don't really recall life without Jesus as part of it. And serving the Lord in some way has always been part of my understanding of what the Christian life is all about. Service was modeled for me by my parents, who were actively involved in our church. They taught Sunday school, sang in the choir, and served as deacons. And I kind of followed their example and actively served at church in a variety of ways as well. However, being more of an introverted personality, I got involved in more support type roles. Now, there's nothing wrong with background support roles. My service with Promise Keepers is a support role. But God started to nudge and challenge me into different areas of service when I ended up marrying someone who was in full-time mission work. My wife's work in the summertime was mainly summer camp and vacation Bible school ministry, which I thought would be great to be part of. For the first few years of our marriage, my employer at the time, not PK, graciously allowed me to take a leave of absence to work alongside my wife in these summer programs. It was good fun, going to different parts of our region, working with various churches, and having fun with the kids. I tried to pull my weight as I took up various aspects of the program, but knowing my shortcomings, I often relied on my wife to pick up the pieces if I ended short or forgot to relay the application for the Bible story. The first few summers went really well. I was gaining experience, and my comfort level at this type of frontline ministry was increasing. However, in the third summer, I was asked to take it up a notch. For 1 week that summer, my wife was slated to be part of the mission's teen girls camp, which meant that I was at a loose end. The boss tapped me and asked if I would lead a team to do the chapel lessons at another camp that had requested a mission team. I felt unqualified, unwilling, and unsure, but I didn't really have a choice. So with 2 new freshman team members, we set out for a week of camp. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9 says that God's grace is sufficient, that His power is made perfect in weakness. Sometimes humility is equated with weakness, but it's not really. Humility is setting aside what I would prefer for what someone else would like. Setting aside what I want to do for what God would have me do. In that week, I found that in stepping beyond my comfort zone and stepping up to a challenge, I was able to draw closer to God as I depended upon Him more, and that He was able to do things through me that I didn't think were possible. Now, I'm not saying that week of chapel was the best the camp had ever had or ever seen. It probably wasn't, but I have no doubt that God was able to accomplish His will that week because I was obedient to do what He was asking me to do. Philippians 4 verse 13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Since that week of camp, I have found myself a little more willing to try new things, to be less afraid when tapped to serve in a capacity that I would not necessarily run to in my own strength. I have found that when I am obedient to the call of God in service, His help and enabling is always available on tap. Have you ever done something completely different for God? Has someone seen potential in you, but you've responded with something like, no, I'm good? Take a chance. I would challenge you to set aside what you would like to do, move past your comfort zone, and see what God can do through you. His strength is made perfect in weakness.